Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. I am your host today, and if you're wondering if I've been on holiday, I haven't. I have just had an unbelievably dark spray tan, so I might get darker as the podcast goes on if you're watching. So it's me, Nicola, and I'm joined by two lovely guests, and I say lovely. One loves to give me abuse, and his name is Michael. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing? How's painting the deck been today? You got a bit of paint on your face, but it's fine.
Just compared me to the colour of his fence, so that is fantastic. And he's also
It's a nice fence to be.
And he's also just admitted that he uploads certain videos to TikTok, so I get abuse. So that's fantastic. So thanks, everyone. And my second guest is Iain. Hello.
Hello.
You okay?
Yes, it was a dark spray tan, that wasn't it? Because what people might not realise is that you're sitting topless there. Oh, not really. It's not really. Obviously.
Different podcast. No, I'm joking, everyone. That is obviously absolutely just 100% a joke.
Available on Patreon.
Yeah. Also, Iain has a really interesting shirt on. Show your shirt, Iain.
There we go. It's the CEO of the Monkey Triumph Art Gallery in Thirsk Marketplace. Get there for
Peter
all
Reid.
your vintage and collectibles. Pardon?
Peter Reid.
Peter Reid, aye. Well, it's something with a monkey's head. It's the whole monkey. You can't see. If
I can only
stand up,
see
you
the heat. So.
Yeah, me too.
He's dressed for mango or something.
Oh,
United fans are currently
a can of orange.
Wearing that shirt. Because how embarrassing. Anyway, can't all be a big club. Guys, this is it. We are going into the final game of the season. And I don't know why Joe has put me on the rota to host this podcast, because there's not one team that I dislike more in the league than Everton. Don't ask me why. I just despise them. Don't know why. So just go straight into it. Michael, how are we feeling going into Sunday? It's a typical Newcastle that where we are relying on a win, I suppose. But how are you feeling? Confident?
Yeah, I'm really confident. I think and that might not be a good thing, but I think going into the game, let's be honest, people are overrating how good Everton are under David Moyes. They don't lose a lot, but they draw a lot of games, which ultimately obviously won't be enough at the weekend. But I think we've got more than enough. But we're so good on the final day of the season. We've won 8 of our last 10, only losing 1 and drawing the other. The 2 we've lost to, we only lost to Liverpool in 2019-20, and we drew with Chelsea 22-23. So those are the 8. Everton are just going to join a long queue. And to add to that, Everton have only won 1 of the last 8 on the final day of the season. So it's pretty much done. Champions League wrapped up. Happy days. I'll see you later.
I honestly, I am confident in them, but there's something about playing Everton that literally makes me nervous, and I don't know why. I don't want to necessarily call them a bogey team, because I've called Brighton our bogey team before, but there's something about playing Everton that literally makes me really nervous, because either they're not fantastic, but either they play really well and we don't, or we play really well and they don't. It's always one of them games where it's just never, an equal-sided game. But we are at home. We perform well at home.
We do well against them at home. Yeah,
we are at home. We do well against them at home. It's the last game of the season. It's going to be noisy. And yeah, I'm still absolutely devastated that I am attending a wedding on Sunday and going to miss all of it. So that's great. So I'm relying on you guys to keep me updated in the chat. Yeah, I'm not committed in the slightest. Iain, how are you feeling going into Sunday and looking at it? How are you feeling?
Well, I'm like Michael. I'm confident because it's a home game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less confident about Everton, to be fair, because I did sit through, as I've said earlier on this week, I did sit through a very one-sided 1-1 draw with Everton last season, where we were all over them. Pickford played a Raya-like performance, and then we gave him a penalty in the last minute to equalise. So we don't want anything like that on Saturday. I'm very pleased we're at home. Away from home, I hate going to Everton. They do seem to drag us down to play at their level, which is several levels below where we're normally playing when we play at Goodison Park. The number of horrible defeats without Kieran Trippier's assistance, which was 2 years ago, I think, when we lost 3-0 there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad it's at home and not away, because that would be awkward. But we should have way too much for them at home. So I am confident.
On paper and in reality, obviously, we do have the better side. And we should not wipe the floor with them, but we should perform well. Anything I say they end up proving me completely wrong. Looking at the table, I've just got it up on my laptop screen now. Looking at the table, I don't think I have seen the battle for Champions League as close as what it is right this second. So we have got Man City in third on 68, ourselves in fourth on 66, as well as Chelsea in fifth with the same points, and Aston Villa in sixth with 66 points. And then obviously you've got Forest just trailing right behind Villa on 65 points. Sum up, in your own words, how important not only is 3 points on Sunday, because we can't really rely on Chelsea and Forest drawing.
Yeah.
But sum up how important a win is to Newcastle's obviously next season campaign, Champions League campaign, and just in general for the club, because I feel like there's been a shift this year, obviously stating the obvious. Don't know if anyone's heard, but we won a cup. Yeah, just saying. Don't know if that's news to you lot. News to you? So it feels like there's been a bit of a genuine shift in Newcastle overall, particularly this half of the season. So Ian, how important is that going into Sunday and obviously going into the summer? Because it's quite huge.
I think so. I think it is huge. I think we have every right, even before we go on a spending splurge to bring 3 or 4 first teamers in over the summer, to aspire to be playing Champions League football. I think our performances this year have earned it. I think we deserve to be in there, certainly ahead of Chelsea or Villa in terms of the league performances. That said, if things went horribly wrong and we ended up finishing sixth and going into the Europa League, as we identified last night, we should win that next year.
We should.
And that would be nice to have a second a European trophy to go with our Carabao Cup. And that would put us in the Champions League the year after next. So there's a fabulous consolation prize, but I will, of course, be very disappointed if we manage to lose at home to Everton and don't make Champions League qualification. I think that is huge in terms of what we can offer potential signings. We can offer them everything if we qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to do it. It is a massive game. It's another cup final.
It is. Definitely. Michael, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think what I've seen a lot through this week so far is people saying sort of, oh, well, if you offered a cup and seventh at the start of the season, people would have took it. And that is true. But also, it's not a couple of games ago we were talking about finishing second. So, if we do end up sixth, it is going to be a bit of it'll be disheartening. It won't be great. It won't be a great thing to end the season on, but it will, of course, be a good season. Europa League would be superb next year. Champions League better, obviously, but any European trophy that you can win, if you want to be a big six club, I think you need a European trophy to your name. And it's the reason Spurs are going to be there for a little while now. Arsenal are the only one in the big six that haven't won one in the last 6 years or something. So if we want to get there, we need to win a European trophy, and we ain't winning the Champions League. So Europa League, I'd maybe be a bit happy with, but win every game. That's my mentality. So less of the Europa League. We've got to beat David Moyes and Everton because it's not 2004. They're not a problem anymore.
And also Nicola hates Everton, so beat them.
You're not the only one, to be fair.
No, I don't know why I do. They haven't even done anything to me, obviously, personally. I just really don't like them. Really don't like them. Yeah, it's funny you guys talk about Spurs because, I mean, their Premier League campaign has been absolutely abysmal, hasn't it? And obviously, back in whenever it was, you had Big Ange stating, oh, I always win something in my second season. I've sat on this pod and mocked him for that. He's just gone ahead and won a European trophy. So, yeah, more for me. But look how much it means to the Tottenham fans. I mean, it's been, 17 years or something since they last won a European trophy. So I can only imagine how much, obviously, it will mean to us because we are definitely better than Spurs. So I'm just saying, guys.
100%.
Right, we will break there for part 1. Thank you both. And I'll just play our sponsored ad from Bioniq.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Lovely. Thanks for the game of charade, you two.
Love it.
Brilliant. Love it. Ken's voice is just very, very calming. Right.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Very lovely. He could read one of them CBeebies nighttime stories, when they do that, like famous people. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
guys. Let's look at how our game starting lineup, to be fair, because we've had a few key plays missing over the last couple of weeks, which has seen Eddie change the formation more times than I can count. I don't know, sometimes I lose track of what's going on. A couple of weeks ago, we all had no idea what was going on. So, do we think Sunday will be any different? Do we think we'll see the return of Big Joe? Do we think Kieran Trippier will be back in? What do we think is going to happen? Or do we think he's just going to stick with the same as what he's been doing the last sort of 2-3 games? Obviously, I know I was just saying before the pod we started recording that I got stick about a Joey Linton comment I made. But let's be honest, he's been a bit of a miss, hasn't he, these last couple of weeks? So, Michael, let's discuss lineups. How do you think we will go?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you just had to get that video in, didn't you? She got took down because she was very upset about it. But
I can't repeat the comments on here; they were awful. Not user friendly, guys. I really, genuinely, whoever is commenting on our videos and they're listening to this podcast, stop it, because the comments
Please
are vile.
don't.
Listen to the
Just be a
podcast.
bit
Don't
nicer.
comment on me. Don't comment on me. Just be nice.
Nicola has never tried nor practiced anything to do with sword swallowing, have you? Never. She's
And
not
in
a circus
relation
girl.
to tomorrow's fixture.
Brilliant. No, I haven't. You're right. Anyway, back to the starting lineups. Let's talk about Sven Botman.
I thought you wanted to talk about Joe Linton.
No,
I'll talk about both. Talk
about how you think we'll go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those. We've got to return back to the 4-3-3, haven't we?
I think
5 at the back against Everton. Yes. You're not playing 5 defenders against Everton. Realistically, they're one of those teams that are just going to try and hoy the ball up, get Beto on the end of it, try and win a free kick, get a few knockdowns. We're going to be that kind of team where we're probably going to have a lot of the ball. So we need as many attacking players on the pitch as we possibly can, many ball carriers on the pitch as we possibly can. And I'd love to see Louis Miley and centre midfield with Tonali and Bruno. But if Joe Linton's back, I do think he'd make the bench. Botman, I think it's one of those as well. Don't risk him getting injured when you've got a back two of, well, depends on who's fit in the full back areas, I guess. But you could have Dan Burn left back, Tino right back, or you could put. I don't really want Murphy as a right back in a 4, which is the issue there.
Yeah.
So that's an issue. That's an issue there. But Tino's been so good on the left, so maybe if Trippier's not back, you probably have to play the 5, which is a shame. But because that means one of the midfield players isn't going to play. But realistically, it depends on who's fit out of those wing backs. If Trippier's back, it's 4 at the back for me. If Joe Linton's back, he goes straight into midfield, but I don't think he'd be 100% fit, so I think he'd go on the bench. And then Isak. Oh, I hope Isak's back, because if he's not, we might have some problems. I'm not sure I can watch another Callum Wilson up top performance for Newcastle in a big game. Honestly, in his time under Bruce, he was probably the only thing stopping us from being a championship club, another Leeds or something like that. So praise him, fantastic. But his time's gone. I'd even maybe play Gordon through the middle instead. I don't know.
I would I feel bad saying this because I do feel like Callum Wilson may be sold in the summer, to be honest. So I would like to see him, if we've got a hand on the game, I would quite like to see him come on for a couple of minutes to get his send off from us all.
He's
But
had about 12.
right, okay. But you know what I mean? That's only if we've got like a hand on the game. I would personally, if Isak's not fit, I'd put Osula on because I just love the absolute carnage that he causes. I'm going to be honest. I feel like he deserves some minutes. Ian, sorry, I've ranted. How are you? What are you thinking?
It's all right. Well, I agree with Michael in principle. This is Everton at home. We've got to be as most attacking 4-3-3 as we can be. However, I'm just looking at the available personnel, and there are some training pictures out today which showed Dan Burn, Fab Shah, and the handsome Sven Botman training. So he's fit. And I think Eddie will
Yes,
want
he
all
is.
three of those playing. I think Eddie will want all three of those playing. Now, I quite like the lineup where there's five at the back, when the assumption is that one, at least one, is always running into midfield. If that's a Shah who can pick a pass, that's an extra midfielder. It allows Bruno to play right up with the front three, and that might be the best way of getting through a low block. So, yeah, I don't think Joe Linton will be fit. I don't think he'll even sit on the bench. Trippier won't be either. His calf, it was a bad calf muscle, and yeah, I think he's doing overtime somewhere to try and get enough money to pay his strip club bill off that his mates at Gateshead ran up for him. Yeah, sure.
Oh, stop
I
it,
believe
poor
him.
Kieran.
So
I believe
if it
him.
was if it is 4-3-3, I think it'll be Botman who sits on the bench and comes on after
No.
about an hour. I think it'll stick with Tino in the left back position. And I
Yeah.
think Crafu will play right back because he's got to be playing
Yes.
Murphy and Barnes and Gordon through the middle. I
Who
think
did you
that'll
say
be
at right
his
back? Sorry,
lineup. Emil Kraft,
Emil Kraft. Yeah.
It's a
right
great
back.
shout. I'd forgot about Kraft, to be honest. Great shout.
He's been a great servant to Newcastle, hasn't he?
It's been brilliant.
Yeah, well, I'd still yet to have conclusive proof, but I'm sure Emil Kraft is another one of these players that was a solid workaday championship level defender, like Lascelles, like Murphy, like all of those players that Eddie has improved so much that they can now hold their own in the top half of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Kraft has got that development as well. I know he had a horrible injury, so we didn't get a chance for him to establish it. Every time he comes on, he looks solid. He
He
does. He
looks
looks really good.
completely. I don't think unbothered is the right word, but I can't think of the right word. But every time he comes on, he's just completely unbothered about where Eddie tells him to go and what to do. He just puts 100% in all the time. The last game I was at, which I think was the Chelsea game, did he come on for that? Oh, I can't remember. There was a game.
Yeah, I think he did.
Did he come on for that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I just thought, yeah, his work rate's just where it wants to be, and sort of, yes, okay, he's probably not a player to take us into the Champions League sort of thing, but you can always rely on him. So yeah, it's a very good shout actually having him at right back.
Well, I think he looks like an international fullback now.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
there were times when Steve Bruce was picking him, and he was struggling against Plymouth or whoever it was we were playing in the Championship, where he didn't look anywhere near international class. But I think
Yeah.
he looks international class now. I think he's a good fullback.
Yeah,
So I don't think he'll chance Trippier doing his calf for a long term. I don't think Joe Linton. I think Eddie's already ruled Joe Linton out, hasn't he?
I think he
So
did say
yeah.
that, yeah.
If it was 4-3-3, obviously I would agree Miley should play in midfield. There is an unflustered old head on some very young shoulders. I'd love to see him get a full game. Yeah, and first change would be Osula. Whichever
Yeah,
one
mine
of
would be.
those wingers is not playing very well
Mm.
comes off, Gordon switches, and Osula goes down the middle. Let's see what mayhem he really can cause. Of course, hopefully we'll be 2 or 3 up by then.
Can
Yeah.
someone in the third part just remind me to speak about Anthony Gordon? So that's something I want to touch on with him. But Michael, sorry, you're going to say something?
No, but I can. The last time
I thought you were going to say
Everton.
something.
No. But yeah, the last time Everton beat Newcastle at St James's Park, it was 2019. We had Andy Carroll up front.
Wow.
And the Everton squad included the likes of Moise Keane, who's now doing fantastic at Fiorentina, Theo Walcott and Gylfi Sigurdsson. So, yeah, it was that long ago, and they were managed by Carlo Ancelotti. So to beat us up here, they needed Carlo Ancelotti as manager, a much better squad than what they got now. And we had Andy Carroll and Steve Bruce.
Oh God,
It's in our favour.
those Steve Bruce days, guys. Gives me PTSD.
To be
Honestly,
fair, I'm
gives
looking
me
at that
PTSD,
team and it's
mate.
the worst thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how he's had like 1,000 games or whatever it is as a man. It's absolutely insane. Just why we're talking about this game, because there's only one player that I always dread playing against when we play Everton. And I don't know if you guys have got the same opinion. Any players from Everton that you're a little bit worried about? I mean, not the greatest of size, let's be honest, but what are we thinking? Ian? Yeah, T-Rex arms. Mr. Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, Jordan
That's
Pickford
why I'm
usually
thinking
reserves the match at St James's Park for
wind-up
a
merchant.
fantastic performance. Yeah, I do remember him playing superb in the first half, and Everton went in 2-0 up at half time,
Yeah.
1-1 there.
3-2.
And we came out,
Mm.
and I think it was Perez and Rondon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perez with 2. We beat them 3-2,
Rondon.
and that was
Mad.
after the crowd got to Pickford. But to be fair to Pickford, that hasn't happened very often. He's usually much better at winding the Newcastle crowd up than being wound up by the Newcastle crowd. Although we do try, of course. But he's England's goalkeeper. He's capable. He's capable of 90 minutes where you just can't get a bloody thing past him. And I don't want
Yeah.
a match like that on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem with
I
him
think
is that, but also I don't want him to be. I worry about some of our players' temperament, i.e., Bruno. Love him because obviously I love his passion, but I worry if Jordan Pickford gets under their skin. I'm just like, oh, he just annoys me a lot. But he is a fantastic goalkeeper, and obviously he's England's number one, isn't he? So yeah, he
Yeah.
is capable of a good 90 minutes when he wants. Michael?
I think Everton Everton are struggling with injuries, though, are they not?
Yeah, they are.
They are, yeah.
Injuries themselves.
I haven't got a list though. Has
So
anyone got it?
Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Seamus Coleman, Mangala, and Lindstrom.
Okay, wow. So
Michael
they're a
Moore.
bit. Okay.
Tarkovsky, Branthwaite will be difficult to cover for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they could cover one of them out, but that's both centre halves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First choice
Yeah.
centre halves.
It's all
Not
right. We've
good.
only got Wilson against them, probably. They'll be fine.
Or be Gordon, then
Oh, Paul
Asula.
Callum.
We shall cause them mayhem.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, just on
Cutting you
the topic of player that I missed, I think you were going to say the same player, Iliman and Dye. Obviously, their top goal scorer this season. He looks like a real talent. Was at Sheffield United beforehand. Was far too good for them, and it looks like he's far too good for Everton. But yeah, if they're going to cause us any damage, it's going to be in Dye down that left hand side, and then switching with the number 10 as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a good player. Unfortunately, too good for Everton.
Too good for Everton. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree, and that's why we took Anthony Gordon from them because he was too good for them as well.
Yes.
Oh, actually, yeah. I'm going to speak about Anthony Gordon on the next. Oh my goodness me, I can't get my words out. I'm going to speak about him in the
It's
next
all right.
part.
I'll remind you.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is a good place to break. We'll break part 2. I don't know who's doing the Zencastr advert, but whoever it is, take it away.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we've spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr, it came out a clear winner with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It is super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Lovely. Lovely.
That
Another
was my
game of charades.
Zorro Z. No, Zorro Z
Oh, God.
for Zencastr.
So the last part led nicely into this part. Speaking of number 10s, Anthony Gordon. Mr. AG10, he is obviously on our side now. He is facing his old club. But there is something that I would like to discuss about him, because when I logged online after last weekend's game against Arsenal, there was a lot of opinions about Anthony Gordon's body language, his work rate, his attitude, his overall performance, not just that game, but particularly since his red card, to be honest. Now, I didn't really think of it until I actually watched back the highlights of a few games, and I thought, actually, yeah, his body language is a little bit off and his attitude doesn't seem where it normally is, and sort of thing. Do we think that red card affected him more than what we actually think? And do we think there is a potential that his head has been turned ever so slightly on transfer talk? I know obviously it's not that time yet, but obviously the season is coming to a close, and he's a constant hot topic about clubs like Liverpool wanting him, and that is his boyhood club, I believe, or one of his boyhood. I don't really know, but anyway, Michael, what is your opinion on Anthony Gordon?
Yeah, I think people say that maybe his head's been turned, or maybe it's the red card. I actually think it's more the injury he picked up with England. I think he came back from that injury, and obviously he had the red card at the same time, and I think he's been quite determined to try and sort of get his place back, but then he's been benched, and then he's been benched, and he's been benched consistently, and that's always going to play on a player's mind. I will say against Arsenal, second half, I didn't think many attitudes were great, not just Gordon's.
Yeah.
But first half, he was probably one of the only players that, when we were knocking it long, was actually getting down the wing to try and get the ball. Now, he's a winger, that's his job, as Roy Keane would say. But it's one of those where I don't think it's that bad. We've seen the best of Anthony Gordon, and this is definitely isn't it. But we've had 16 to 18 months of great Anthony Gordon, as I've already said on a previous pod. It's a couple of months of not great, but give him a pre-season. Next season he'll be back, double figures, goals and assists once again. Easy.
Perfect. Love that. Summed up in one. Ian?
I agree entirely. I know he got a lot of stick, particularly because he gave the ball away for Rice to score that goal.
Yeah.
And what I'd said in a previous pod earlier this week was, I want him to do that. I want him to get the ball in his own half and cut inside and try and make things happen, even if the cost of that is that sometimes it goes wrong, sometimes that gives a chance to the opposition, and sometimes they score it.
Yeah.
Because if he keeps doing that, he's setting us up to go onto the attack. And I'd far rather have a winger that does that than one that's had all of the creativity and courage coached out of him, like Jack
Agreed.
Grealish, I think was the one that we talked about.
Yeah.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
I don't want
we
a
have
Jack
spoken about it
Grealish.
before.
I want Anthony Gordon to make things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
agree.
I agree with you both. Completely agree with you both. And obviously, like you said, Michael and Ian, like after his sort of red card and his injury with England, etc., Harvey Barnes pretty much took over his spot, because Harvey Barnes hit a great period of form. So, and that is just the life of football. But yeah, I agree. I hope he doesn't let it affect him too much. Obviously, we are coming to the end of the season, so also fatigue plays a massive part. I know people don't like that as an excuse because they are athletes and they, get paid a lot of money. But hello, we are all human. It is tiring.
Yeah.
So let's hope if he does start on Sunday, he come on, score against them, please. If that's the one thing that I can wish for, just score against them and celebrate like your heart depends on it.
We want to have a good game because there's another England squad being picked the week after for a 6-day England camp, 2 matches. Rashford won't get picked because he's injured. Eze did himself no harm for getting a run on the left wing by scoring that lovely winner in the cup final. Anthony Gordon's want to get on that. He's going to want to get into that squad to show what he can do, even if Eze starts for England.
Agreed.
And his current form is a bit sporadic. He's due a game where he really influences the outcome of the game. And fingers crossed, that will be Everton on Sunday.
Yeah, it's written in the stars. Written in the stars, isn't it? Come on. Right, we're pretty much at the end of the pod now. So before we close off, score predictions. I'll go first. I think we're going to be 3-0. Winning 3-0.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Will do.
I'll go for a 2-0.
Ian?
Right. Yeah, well,
I've set you up.
I am going to have to go for my 3-1, aren't I?
Yes.
Because Because Ndai is capable, isn't he? He's capable of a flash of brilliance, an overhead kick, or a free kick into the top corner. I think Everton will score, but I think we'll have way too much for them. I think we'd win 3-1 and be wondering how it was only 3 because Pickford will play well.
Yeah,
But, he can make 20 saves and still let 3 goals in when he's playing Newcastle if we're on it.
agreed.
So, yeah, 3-1 for me.
It is going to be noisy on Sunday. I can already feel it, even though I'm not
100%.
there. But it is going to be a force, and they're going to struggle. I can feel it. They're definitely going to struggle.
They're doing the same thing they did last time as well, where they're offering 2 free pints this time
Oh,
before the game. I've just got the email about it there, so that's going to be absolutely beautiful and very drunk. St James's Park at 4:00.
are you
But just
all
before
there?
we end,
Oh, sorry.
I'm not. No,
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Go.
No, but
I'm not.
No, me either.
I imagine I will be
unfortunately,
struggling to find, because it's not on the telly either. It's
I
not on
know.
Sky,
no.
on TNT.
Sky
It
have
will be on
picked Liverpool and
American
Palace.
television if you can somehow stumble across a stream from an American broadcaster by accident. Then maybe that's the way we get to see it whilst it's happening. Or just listen in through the website to Radio Newcastle's radio commentary.
Yeah,
You still
true.
get all the atmosphere on that.
Beautiful.
They're great fun.
Go on,
Absolutely.
Michael.
But just before we end, because there is a chance that I don't get to give this
Oh,
or do this if we lose, so I do have a little quiz question. So
Ooh.
if we do win, Eddie Howe will be the 5th Englishman to have 2 top 4 finishes to his name in Premier League history, not obviously all of the top division. Can you name the other 4 Englishmen?
Harry Redknapp.
That's one. Great shout.
David Moyes.
Struggling. Yeah, David. Yeah,
Scottish.
Was it?
Scottish.
Did he do him?
He's
Oh, yeah,
Scottish,
David
but
Moyes is Scottish, yeah. That's true.
yeah. If I'll give you the years, will that help?
Possibly.
So
Why am I
one
struggling to
person
think of
did
English
it.
managers?
One person did it in 1993, 94, 95, 96. Another did it in 1994, 95, and
Keegan.
1997, 98. Keegan's one of them, yes.
Yeah.
And the other did it
Bobby
in
Robson.
2001. That was the other one, yes. So you're missing
Yay!
one more who got top 4 in 1994, 95, and 1997 and 98. Not for Newcastle.
Alex Ferguson. No, can't be him.
Scottish.
Oh, of course he is. Yeah, twat.
This is the one I didn't think you might get.
Right, this is an interesting one. What other managers were there kicking about?
I don't know.
Is it 2 different teams, Michael?
Oh,
It was the same
okay.
team.
I can quickly check, but I believe it was for the same team.
Sam Allardyce.
No. Yes, it was the same team. The teams he's managed are Liverpool,
Kenny Dalglish.
Fulham.
Nope,
Nope.
he's not even English, is he? Is
Nope.
he? Nope.
And Swindon Town.
Oh,
Swindon Town? They got a
Yeah.
top 4 finish in the Premier League, did they?
Yeah, it's not them, obviously.
we are.
He was with Liverpool for 4 years. That's where he had his 2 top 4
Brendan
finishes.
Rodgers.
No, this is in the. I said this is in the 90s.
All right.
It's 1994, 95, and 97, 98. Right. Quick, have you got any idea?
I've got no idea.
It is a tough one, this one.
That's a tough one.
It is Roy Evans with Liverpool, who was manager during the Collymore moment and others. But yes, the 4 were Kevin Keegan, Harry Redknapp, Bobby Robson, and Roy Evans. So I'd like to say great names that Eddie Howe's up there with.
Oh, yeah.
But there's only a couple, and well, they've managed Newcastle or Spurs really, because Harry's a great. But yeah, I just thought I'd end with that of Eddie Howe can put his name in history.
Well, he's certainly put his name in history this season, let's be honest.
Yes.
So why not add another one on? Thank you both for joining. Obviously, we'll be back on Monday morning, I believe, with a little game review. I'm not on it because I'm not here.
Yes.
And then we have got a full team pod next week at some point to round off the season as a whole. Thank you, everyone, for listening. See you later.
Every club, every day. Global Sports Podcast Network.